Yeah, it's the normal disconnect.
Yeah, it's all Gucci.
So we should be back now.
Cool, cool. All the glitches happen in the downtime, that's funny. Yeah, what everybody didn't see was the huge damage glitch that I just activated. Kappa. Just kidding. Time to splice the run, yeah. Time to I should load a save like towards the end of the game. Be like, wow guys, we ended up really underestimating. This is incredible. I'm so good. But similar to last time where we did 2 cycles of Zaber, we're going to do 3 of Suvia. So we have 2 more left. And each one's going to obviously increase in speed. But as soon as we finish that last phase, the game erupts. It starts going insanely quickly. What do we want? Magic, and I need him to have quick rest as well. She can have whatever, to be honest. Tripwire. We'll give her cloak as well. Okay, cool. Did I run? Unfortunately, I did not. The vanilla version of the game is significantly slower because there's a section where you have to go through to the Antivirum Cathedral, and in that you have to have Fire Spud ++. So you actually have to spend a good amount of time farming that, whereas in this you're not susceptible to the same thing. On top of that, the faster battles. I'm sure that someday, just for funsies, I'll run a festival of magic just to have a go at it. But when I started routing and running the game, this version was already out. So as you can see, we're starting to rip through stuff. Even with just a single pass, we're moving a lot faster. We got a lot of talents with that last one. Oh no! That's okay. Might as well wait a turn. Nice. Probably should have used that on the other enemies. Nah. So it's supposed to heal with Nart here. I don't want to do too much damage because only half of the enemies we fight here actually are susceptible to that heal damage. So I didn't want to do AoE damage and then heal it out of those people. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, I totally agree. From what I've seen a lot of Festival of Magic. I've done a lot of, when I was researching this game for routing purposes, I did a lot of research, and most of the content that existed was for Festival of Magic. And just the quality of life things scattered throughout the game made me like very convinced that this is definitely the version that's not only more conducive to speedrunning, but just a more quality gameplay experience as a whole. I think they did a really good job with this this remaster, this update, whatever you would like to call it. And I'm not sure if they're watching, but usually they are, so I'm sure that they appreciate your kind words, man. I know they take a lot of pride in this rendition of the game, and the fact that they sat down and decided that that was what they were going to do instead of making a new game was to make the one they already had better. You know, I don't know a lot of places that would do that as well. Alright, so we should be able to kill here. Brilliant. That's a pretty clean fight, all things considered. But it's funny, when I first started routing this game, or before I even started, I looked into it. Somebody turned it on to me, and or turned me on to it rather. And I was like, oh, this is such a neat game. And I contacted them, and I said, hey, listen, I'm a speedrunner. I'm really interested in Earthlock. I know that devs don't generally you know, tell people about glitches or skips or anything like that, but if there's anything, any advice you can give me, I would greatly appreciate it. And since then, they've sent me all kinds of helpful tips. They answer a lot of my questions. They've been super awesome about it. Well, there you go, Snow Castle. What's going on? Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you guys' support as always. Snow Castle, for anybody who is who's not listened to my spiel, is they are the developers of this game. A swell group, for sure. Their puns sometimes leave a little bit to be desired, but but otherwise, absolute quality people. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. What? This is amusing. Alrighty, Tyka's too good. That's funny. We missed so many. We missed like 3 attacks in a row. That's funny because at the level we're at right now, our accuracy is almost on par with every single thing's evasion in here, if not better. So that's really unlucky to get that amount of misses. Okay, excellent. So here I curse the Gardas. She's the mage. And then we ground frost so that the melee attacker can't attack. And the Gardas never lives more than a single turn. So as long as we're at a reasonable HP amount, she's going to die. And we're not going to have any risk. Boom. Super quick. That was a really, really clean round. We're going to do that one more. We're going to do one more pass of that. You know, I actually have an idea that strategically maybe I could just do 2 rounds of this. However, there's a lot of bosses towards the end of the game that just that extra bit of level really makes a sizable difference, especially given that magic tiles give you 12 magic. So we basically, for every level you go into or one less tile, you're missing out on 12 whole magic. And that's a pretty noticeable amount. So I don't know if the day will come where I'm so worried about getting the time down to a sub 3 or something like that, I guess, that I cut a round out. I just don't know if we can make it past Twisted Guardian and Valkyrie Ichibo. But as you can see, Eamon is also contributing a sizable amount at this point. He has pretty good ammunition as well that helps. I think Taika with how many buffs? He's going to have 3 buffs. If Ive kills one of these right here, we'll be able to kill him on this round. Oh, never mind. Even better. Perfect. Again, you've seen it. I won't beat you over the head with it, but we're gonna heal these guys. Continue on as normal. Nart taking a turn first is always helpful. Get that damage out there. Nice. That was a heads-up play. I'm very happy with that result. Oh, yikes. Yeah, head slam is not ideal. Sticky punch. Oh man, Narda's really getting the business right now. That's funny. Because Nard is stunned, we're just gonna have to wait until he wakes up. Fortunately, Eamon does a crap ton of damage right now. this fight kind of got away from me. It's just unlucky when Nart receives the brunt of the attention. I totally agree, Greener. I totally agree. I really like the vibe of this game. I think they did they did a pretty stellar job when it comes to taking a lot of the good qualities of what made old turn-based RPGs what they were, and mixing it with things that are more modern and new to kind of be up to date with what players and the attention span that gamers these days have. So I think they did a great job of blending them. Yeah, Earthlock 2. I believe that Snowcastle can feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that their plan is a trilogy. And I have read a couple of interviews that some of them did about oh, very nice. That some of them did about, you know, the kind of the direction that they're going. I'm sure obviously they themselves could give you a much better idea than I could, but it seemed like the idea was that Earthlock 2 is going to be kind of a different style of process that they had to go about creating it, because this was based off of like a lot of reflection and ideas that they had from games that they loved, whereas Earthlock 2 now has to be a game that kind of sets its own standard, and it kind of is its own game, you know, as opposed to being a culmination of influence. It stands on its own. So I'm excited to see it. I tell them all the time, though, that if Taika's not in it, I'm gonna be heated. No pressure, though. No pressure. Earthlock 2. I mark my promise. You can quote me right now. When Earthlock 2 does come out, I will happily speedrun it, or at least try to. Something tells me, though, that they might not let the power of Taika slip through the same way that it feels like it did in this game. They might be on to me, boys. Alright, so now there's not a whole lot of time to explain. It's time to go really, really fast. From this point forward, we are done with all of the needless EXP, or the slow EXP grinding. We're going to do 2 more barnacles from between now and the end of the game. However, this is about to be like Big Boss Rush the game for the next remaining hour, or less than that even. First, we're going to go fight Trimblebone, who is an undead. And I didn't know this until today, actually, but Snowcastle can correct me if I'm wrong on this, if they're still lingering, but the art for Trimblebone and his character design was actually inspired by a 10-year-old's drawing for the game. One of the backers for the Kickstarter. Which is neat. It's neat how they took an idea and managed to mold it. You look at the drawing, and it's actually pretty cool. So as you can see, I'm using Pat to move real fast. Outside of that, Pat has like these weird pseudo tank qualities about him. I mean, he's instinctively a tank as a character. However, like, he doesn't have the same, like, whereas Olia is more of like a berserker style tank, Pat is like a tried and true tank. But we really can't afford to give up any of the people that we have in our party dynamic. And because we need the support characters that we have, we need the damage and then the support damage from Eamon. We need everything that we have right now. So there really isn't any room to move characters around. This party that we have now is pretty much what we gotta stick with. But we'll save just to be sure. I've never had Bone Tree or a Trimblebone go poorly. Not poorly enough to die, but it's a marathon. We'll do a safety save just to be safe. Oh, forgot to do a couple of stance changes, but it shouldn't matter a whole lot. Actually, Eamon might even have a Water Blast Plus still on him. It's irrelevant. forget it. So you're gonna see me use Curse here. It's sick. Everybody's level 5 bond now. Oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. So you can see that the haste just procced off of first aid. We're going to use first aid to keep Taika up. We're going to use Nart to keep spamming stuff. And we're going to pop Curse. First aid, another property that it does have is that it what am I trying to say here? It will remove bleed. Sorry. Bleed, yeah. It gets rid of bleed, which is a status that a lot of these late game enemies will inflict on you. And it's crazy. First aid's utility is so ridiculous. It does, like, because it is percentage HP, the higher level we get, obviously, the more it's going to heal. But its value is just nuts. Between a 25% chance to land haste, as well as getting rid of bleed, as well as all these things that it does, it's crazy how useful it is. So now that was Trimblebone, as easy as it is, or as easy as it seems. It really, you know, that fight's not really supposed to be that big of a breeze, but the power of Taika really is something else. He's a massive boy. But next on our list is Franir. We're going to save right here. We also need to touch that save stone because we will be returning to Franir's lair a little bit later on with the intention of skipping a section that we have to do a puzzle for later. Got a little bit unlucky with the damage roll on that. I also haven't spec'd into tiles, so that's probably why. But the definitely the most complex and most mind-boggling of all the dungeon puzzles in the game, we're actually going to skip that entire dungeon. And it's way fast. We skip it. It's so nice. As long as he doesn't stun, we're fine. We can fight that other enemy too. It's not that big a deal. It's just obviously slow. So here we're going to bounce back and forth. Actually, we're going to pick up a chest in a minute, and it's going to be the last chest we go out of our way for, because it has a magic tile in it. And like I said, every little magic tile we can get really matters. Ooh, super nice damage roll with that one on Eamon. So I'm strategically... Ooh, nice, we made it. I moved Eamon all the way to the back right there to pick up the Amory, because I knew as soon as I interacted with that it was going to have those enemies take a few steps towards me. And had I done it right on top of them, it would have forced another fight. Now right here, you can actually sometimes screw yourself up by picking up that blue a second time, as opposed to, and you have to go back and grab your yellow again. Oh man, yeah, if you're into puns, Snow Castle has you covered. They be really doing the most on Twitter sometimes. Sometimes I shake my head in person, give a chuckle, a little head shake, and I'm like, oh goodness. And the comics are all super neat. The actual drawing I really like. There was a Mushriga drawing that somebody did, I think for Halloween, that was so sick. And their Christmas Advent calendar was this huge event that they did where they gave away a bunch of stuff. And the art on the Advent calendar was cool too. I actually cut out a couple of the characters like on Photoshop, just to have like on my computer because they're really neat looking images. Okay, we're gonna need might, we're gonna need magic, we're gonna need resilience, he's gonna need armor. Brilliant. He needs to be in this form. Okay, cool. So Franir right here, you can't do physical damage to. You can only do ranged attacks. So magic obviously is one, but the other one is we're gonna have to have Eamon over here, and instead of him being able to utilize gouge or stab, he's not gonna be able to reach. So he's gonna provide what chip damage he can with the 4 spuds or whatever he has, I think. Franir is another enemy that forces bleed with that ability Claw you just saw right there. Now, because Eamon is less important, we're not going to worry too much about it. Instead, we're just going to make sure that we try to land haste on Taika and Nart. Unfortunately, we're getting a little unlucky with the haste, but it's okay. Unfortunately, we didn't get energized to proc there, so that's kind of a shame. Oops, I should have fire trapped. That was silly of me. It's okay. We still win on this next turn anyways. I generally don't like to use... Oh, he's burning immune. Stupid me. We actually need Eamon alive for this. There we go. A little bit of a mishap on my part. I was just spamming in order to get that fight over. But I usually don't like to use Bond there because it's important to use it at Twisted Guardian. But with the new Twisted Guardian strats, we should be fine. Yo, what's going on, Cinder? How are you, my friend? Thank you so much for stopping by. So real quick, because the next section, oops, I went the wrong way, requires us to have red, yellow, and blue Amory. We're actually going to come up here. We're going to grab the red Amory, and we're going to hold on to it. We're going to work to plump it, interacting with the statue from the other side of the wall. Sick tech. And we're going to go deal with Twisted Guardian, who is an absolute chore and a half. We're going to go to Suvia first. Now we're going to kill a barnacle along the way. So we're going to get a decent amount of EXP. And usually we can kill the barnacle without taking like any damage. But it doesn't really matter because we'll warp to plump it just to be safe. But we got a little bit of a running section right here, man. If you want to plug anything before we get towards the end of this run, you're more than welcome to right now. It would be a good time.
Indeed, we can plug something. To anyone new here, welcome to NGA. No glitches allowed. We run no glitches categories. Glitchless categories for a good cause. We're currently benefiting Go Rescue It, which helps animals get off the street, get treated, find new homes. If you'd like to donate to such a cause, you can use donation mark donate to find the donation page. All donations also go towards an incentive. We only got 2 naming incentives left. A few more goal incentives. One is actually the lowest Hobo King, who's still missing $7 to be played. And a few bids were for characters, categories, and of course slot card design. You can find all those on exclamation mark incentives. Also, if you didn't notice, we also have the devs, Earthlock 2 devs in the chat now. They're currently, it seems to be a bunch of awesome guys, so please do follow them on Twitter if you want to have updates on their new upcoming game, Earthlock 2. Thanks for that, Palmer.
Yeah, of course, my dude. Appreciate you. Alrighty, so now we're gonna go fight the next barnacle. Taika absolutely rips apart this poor guy. It's so sad to see. This barnacle is actually quite easy. However, the next barnacle is not. But we'll worry about that when we get there. So we're just gonna punch him. We're gonna throw a curse on him. Watch him squirm. There you go. It really is that easy. You see all that damage coming out. Like I said, it is 4 instances of damage when you use Curse, so it's not relegated to the damage cap from a single source of damage, which is 9,999. And that's important. Right there, you actually didn't see. I doubt we did more than 10k with Curse, but like it makes a lot of it makes a huge difference on some of the later fights in the game. So right away, you're gonna see me deposit the red Amory. We're gonna go over here. We're gonna warp. We're gonna go back to Franir's lair, actually, or Franir's grotto. The lair puts us a little bit further back. I think it's faster to go to the whatever one's in the front. I can't remember. We're gonna wing it. I think it's this one. So go to the lair. We go up here. We go get the blue Amory from here. That way we can avoid doing the longer part of the Tower of Dur puzzle that gives us blue. We can just come kill this one real quick. Get the blue, go back, use it, and that's pretty much the entire Tower of Dur. It's crazy how fast we go through it now. It used to be 5 or 6 minutes by itself, and now it, you know, we spend less than 35 seconds to a minute in the actual puzzle section of the Tower of Dur. It's really nice, and that's actually one of the more recent. Oh shoot! I was worried that we soft locked. It's okay. I have saves everywhere now. That's one of the more recent route adjustments, is like this playing around with Amory that you can do. So we're gonna bait this guy out. Move, please. Grab the yellow. Come on out here. Now we're actually gonna ride it up, and then we're gonna ride it back down. Now if you save and then ride it up and die, you actually have to refill the colors again. If you ride it up, ride back down, and then save, if you die to Twisted Guardian, the colors will remain, which is important because Twisted Guardian, up until you know, I was able to figure out a strat that helps. It was not a guaranteed fight. It was like, in fact, it was the opposite. It was like 20% chance you made it through this fight. So we're gonna give it armor, armor, resilience, resilience. We're gonna switch to Ive and take some of her. We're gonna give her might in a couple different spots. Actually, that's probably ideal. We're gonna change her to captains. You know what? I should have done that earlier, but it's okay. And now we're going to resilience, resilience, armor. And the reason I switched out of that, okay, she has cloak equipped. The reason I switched out of that, what would you call it? Benjo's gun. I'm sorry. The reason I switched out of Benjo's gun is because. Ooh, we don't have bond. Okay, we'll just keep it like that. Yeah. The reason I switched out of Benjo's gun is because it actually lowers Eamon's speed, and we need Eamon and Ive both to be at about 100 speed. This next fight we have to do a very specific way. Now, Twisted Guardian, what he does is he will use a DOT, like a lightning-based DOT, and once he applies that DOT to all 4 characters, he'll do like a finisher move, basically, that one-shots everybody for the most part. So, oh, fair, very good turn order. So what we'll do is we actually cloak the people who can cloak, so that that he can't hit them with the DOT. And while he's waiting to hit them with the DOT, he just basically stalls out his turns. He does random targeted melee attacks, like right there. What do I want to do here? No, we're gonna cloak again, and we'll cloak with him as well. That's actually pretty favorable turn order so far. Okay, we should be good with this. So now we're going to Healing Elixir Nart. We're going to continue to keep Ive cloaked. It's very important. Nice. We're getting really, really lucky with those. So now we actually have the damage to win no matter what. So what we need to do is focus on just making sure that Taika stays up. Yeah, I think this is ideal. Alright. Get Ive back into Cloak. Excellent. We played this perfect. Brilliant. So now he's going to do it, but I kept Taika in a position where he can win no matter what. So there we go. We beat Twisted Guardian first try. The fact that everybody is dead is irrelevant. EXP is not as important now. We're going to end at the same spot pretty much always. Woo! That fight can go a whole lot of different ways. So that was really excellent that it went that way. You can you can definitely die there. We've died enough for today. Alright, so now we move on to Sentient Train. So a minute ago I stepped into the underwater station, and I did that just to touch the save stone. Saves me a little bit of time in running. This is actually a really neat little area. It's basically like an abandoned subway kind of feel. I really like the aesthetic of it. Kind of gives me like a Fallout meets Parasite Eve kind of thing. That fight with the Twisted Guardian, the way that we do it, considering that we do everything with a very glass cannon style. Ooh, man, it can go. Anybody who's been in my chat and watched me do runs of this game can vouch for just how ugly that thing can get. It's sickening. It used to be about a 20% chance that we made it on first try. Now it's about an 80% chance. And runs used to be on great pace and die there all the time. And I was worried that it would be really difficult to convince marathons to allow it with such an inconsistency so late in the game. But really happy with the cloak strats and all that came out of that. That's a lot better fight than it used to be. And now it's funny because this next boss, Sentient Train, is probably the easiest boss in the whole game, or at least with the way that we do it. A single cast of Curse on Taika usually kills the Sentient Train, and nobody else really even has to do anything. And actually the most difficult part, there's a couple of fights we have to do on the way to the Sentient Train. There's 3 different fights, one with 4, one with 6, and one with 8, I believe. And those guys are actually way more difficult, take quite a bit longer than the train itself. Anytime you add multiple enemies, or like Taika's ability to shred single target, like it's busted. Now when you add multiple enemies, he kind of, he's still insanely strong, but because the AoE damage is dispersed evenly amongst all the people that you're fighting, the more targets that are added obviously slow down Taika just a little bit. Even he is slowed down. Yeah, Snowcastle is awesome, man. They're so super dope. Pretty cool people. If somebody's willing to put up with the bombarding of questions that I tweet, that they gotta be some decent guys. So I'd be tweeting nonsense on the regular. Alright, but so here's a large part of why we get lightning. Like, we don't really need lightning up until now. Like, you can totally get by without it. However, these guys are like way more susceptible to it, and if you happen to get lightning's DOT effect to stick, it makes a considerable difference. Sometimes these guys will actually just explode. Like they'll almost like a how would you classify that? Perfect. That was a good idea. Like a self-destruct kind of mechanism. Those guys have. Come on. So it's really, really nice when one of those guys does it. I don't know what actually triggers them to self-destruct or to do that to themselves. But when it happens, I appreciate it. Alrighty. Okay. We want the DOT from lightning to stick. Okay, got to suck on one. That's not bad. These guys do, as you can see, cast defense up. Sucks. Oh my gosh, the DOT is dirty. Perfect. So the DOT by itself did like 75% of that guy's HP. We're actually going to have to heal Taika here because he is stunned and bleeding. First aid does get rid of bleed. So this fight's going to take a while. We just got to wait for Taika to come unstunned at this point. He's got one more turn of stun, it looks like. I don't want to use any bond because it's important to have it for some of the later bosses that we do. Alright, so Taika should be, yep, unstunned now. Cool beans. Ready to rock. I think actually now that a curse with Taika, I mean, I'm sorry, a quake will actually kill. Ooh, close. So yeah, we lost a lot of time in this fight, but that's just the nature of things. Sometimes it can't be helped. It's just the way she rolls. Oops! Okay, cool. Because we are doing fine on time, as far as like in comparison to what my estimate actually is, we'll, after we beat Naran, which is after the sentient train, we'll go back and shop just for good measure to make sure we have the items that we'll need. Boom. So I don't usually do that there, but I have a sneaky suspicion that we won't need it at Naran, the bond. And by the time we get to Ichibo and Bryn, we should have our bond more than recharged. And that fight can sometimes take a while with those 8 enemies. I might actually start doing that in runs now that I think about it. That felt pretty good, not gonna lie. Might as well drop a healing elixir on everybody just to be safe. Sentient Train poses like absolutely no risk, but sometimes he'll snipe people out of EXP receiving range by spamming Missile Barrage 2 turns early, and he'll like kill somebody weak like Aemon. And because we're gonna shop again, there's no reason to be stingy. We'll have more than enough money to buy all the elixirs we'll ever have a desire for. So here we're gonna suplex the train. Not really, but that's a general idea when you fight trains in RPGs. We'll actually do something cooler than suplex it. We'll kill it in like less than 20 seconds. Oh man, so because Taika took his turn early, one curse couldn't do it. That's okay, because the next, the Quake definitely will. There we go. And that's Sentient Train. As you can see, we hit the 999 damage cap right there. It's funny when you hit max damage. There's something really gratifying about seeing 9999 appear across the screen, you know. So we're going to tap that so we can warp back to it later. Now we're at Karba, or not at Karba, but we're at Nunar Station. Karba is where we'll end up. Nadir is actually the world, like the overworld that we're in right now. We're going to go fight Naran. Now the whole reason we've been doing this story-wise, since I got some walking to do, is because we need to defeat Ichibo and Bryn. Well, the High Owl, the lady that we talked to in the House of the High Owl, basically the Relics Historian Society, she, the jukes. She says that she can craft us a shield, essentially, to withstand Bryn's Evil Devastate move. That was the move that you saw him use on us earlier that reduced us to 2 max HP. Nice. We didn't have to take this fight. So here's the last barnacle in the game. We got to be really careful with this guy. He is a butt munch, to say the least. Yeah, that's probably fine. Give Taika again all the magic he could ever ask for. Now we're actually going to use the healing elixirs. We're going to take this fight. Now we need to see Barnacle's challenge come at least once. Okay, that was actually a good amount of damage. Bummer. Okay, cool. That's fine. So as you can see, we went to 18 rather easily. Now we're going to one of the final dungeons in the game. And back to my story point, what I was speaking about earlier. The High Owl says she can craft these talents, basically. We're going to equip some talents that make us immune to Bryn's Devastate insta-kill. Now when that happens, in order to craft those talents, the owl needs like certain ingredients. And those ingredients are received at the end of defeating these certain bosses. Now if there was a way for us to somehow figure out some kind of strategy or tech to be able to defeat them without the tiles, it would save probably 30 to 45 minutes in the run. Granted, we'd still probably have to grind those extra levels, so maybe it would only save like 20-25 minutes, but it would be a pretty significant time save. Now I don't know if there's any way to work around that. That ability is pretty nasty, and I don't know that if you raise or have somebody hit and back again, that they don't come up with still 2 reduced HP. I don't know. So we're gonna go to the cathedral here. We're gonna make sure everybody's in the correct stance. They should be. Okay, cool. Now this fight has to be done a very specific way. It's similar, it works the exact same way as Sharon that you saw earlier in the game. Oops, sorry. This guy just is a little different element. However, Taika can shred him really quickly. You just have to give Taika the opportunity to have the correct amount of Amory at the end of this fight. Oh, she got stunned. Eeps. Or like when by the time the hands get knocked down, Taika needs to have enough Amory to cast Curse. Please don't hit him again. Okay, excellent. Very excellent. I'm gonna do it. Energize didn't proc. So that was a terrible decision. Hopefully we get haste to stick right here. We didn't. Come on, let's get haste. No such luck. We actually might have to restart this fight. Yeah, he becomes immune. So I think the fastest way to do this would be to just pass our turns, actually. Yeah, that's what I thought. So he's going to do an AoE that's going to kill all of us. He actually does 2 AoEs as opposed to Sharon's 1. There it is. Okay, cool. And it does max damage. I needed to die as quickly as possible. That was the idea. Like I said, you have to... I was risky, and I played it a little greedy, and I got punished super hard for it. So we're going to probably lose a minute as a result. But I saved right beforehand, just because I know sometimes I do get greedy in that fight. Oh, it's also worth mentioning that anytime you die to a boss, Frog Boy will come next to that save stone, wherever the corresponding boss is, and he'll give you some tips on how to defeat that enemy. It's pretty neat. Also, usually I get bodied, and I'm like, alright, Frog Boy, and he's like, here's some things to do. And I'm like, I already knew that. I knew that much. Come on, man. I was expecting some big secret. But alas. Okay, so Taika. It actually doesn't hurt for Eamon to have haste here, because Eamon actually does a pretty considerable amount of damage to these fists. Alright, so now we need to absolutely have Taika just skip his turn, because we have to have at least 4 Amory when it comes to him collapsing. Oh man, he really didn't like Eamon. That's a shame. He's gonna die again, looks like. No, not quite. Brilliant. So he'll be dead on this turn for sure now. So he's gonna collapse. Taika's gonna cast Curse for big boy damage. There you go. So that's how the fight's supposed to go. My small little greeting of that really set us back a little bit, but it's okay. So now we got to return to Suvia. We got to talk to the High Owl, essentially, at the House of High Owl. She's going to create the Aegis of Lys. We're actually going to do a little bit of shopping since we can. And we're going to grab some extra restorative items since we have the money to do so. We're going to get the Shields of Lys. Then we're going to go fight Ichibo and Bren. And then after that, we're going to have to fight Valver Ichibo. And those will be the 2 final bosses. And then afterwards, I'll load the save for the Hollow Knight, show you guys how that looks as well, since we did meet that incentive also. Cool. More than enough. More than enough. Usually I don't shop twice. So I just wing it on what I got left. So as you can imagine, we should have we should have plenty at this point. So here she goes. She's going to give us the shields. We need to equip them now because they're imperative. Okay, cool. He actually has a slot for them. Ooh, Lys, Aegis. Bonds. And she needs to get rid of Quick Step. Alright, cool. So that Lys Aegis that you just saw right there is what is going to make us immune to Bren's Devastate when he throws it out, which is a nasty, nasty ability. If you, there's been times when I've come back here, I've gotten the talent cards, I've gone to Ichibo and Bren, and obviously when I'm on PB pace or whatever, I'm trying not to save if I can help it. And then I forgot to equip them, and I go in and I get the crap beat out of me, and I'm like, oh man. Oh really? Well, thank you guys so much for meeting those incentives. I do appreciate it, really. Oh, where am I going? Nunar Station. That's where. Yeah, the Hollow Knight is really neat, and I think everybody's been plenty enjoying Princess Hive and Frognart. I actually never get to use the skins because, you know, it takes time to go pick them up. So it's actually been kind of neat. I really, really like Ive's princess skin. Now, Olia has an alternate skin as well, but because we don't use her, you can't see it, so I don't make it an incentive. I don't know that Eamon has one, though. If Snowcastle's still around, they could probably answer that question better than I, but Eamon and Taika, unless there's, like, you know, you obtain them through some side quest that, you know, I don't partake in. I've never seen alternate skins for them. Yeah, Cinder, I do appreciate it. I'll remember to tell Shelby I appreciate it as well next time I send her an annoying text and bother her. So we're going to zip past these bad boys. We're gonna bait them out. These guys we gotta actually bait a little bit. There we go. We're gonna make sure we save right here. Okay, cool. So ideally what we want to have happen here is them to go first, I think. I don't know, it's hard to say. This fight sucks. This is not a great fight. It can get really ugly, depending on like turn orders. If you don't kill Ichibo fast enough and he gets 2 different rounds of iron skin off, then you're kind of in a little bit of trouble. Alright, that's not so bad. Ooh, man, I gotta start searching then. So Sloth will almost always, I mean, it'll always do Iron Skin to Sloth, which is unfortunate because it's slow and everything else. But because we gotta wait, we can sit here and use a bunch of healing elixirs. Oh yeah, Nart's toast, my dude. Now we can actually start doing some damage. We need Taika to take a turn. Okay, cool. Contempt is fine. I'm pretty sure he's gonna devastate here. No, execute. That sucks. Please don't Iron Skin. Elemental Storm is totally okay. Oh no, he didn't die! Please get a turn. Oh no, he did get 2 rounds of Iron Skin off, so this is an unfavorable fight to say in the least. Devastate actually might kill us. I don't have N back again equipped. Elemental Storm probably kills us. Sloth doesn't, fortunately. I don't know that I want to continue this fight. We might need to just do this. I don't want to utilize much more cool. Oh my goodness, you gotta be kidding me, bro. This is a bad fight. But it happens. It's just the nature of this fight. Sometimes it goes. Yeah, I do have hers, but because we don't use her, I don't ever offer it. Taika's gonna have so many freaking turns at the end of this, or so many buffs. We're just gonna have to scum through this. So long as Taika doesn't die, obviously we're gonna be okay. We're gonna have to shop again, it looks like. Okay, that was really ugly, but it happens. We should have a decent amount of money just to buy some Kisses of Liss at the very least. Maybe a couple of healing elixirs if we really need them. Generally, the idea for that fight is you kill Ichibo long before he gets a second Iron Skin off. It's basically 4 turns of the enemy, 2 for each character, that you have to sit through and do no damage, as well as you're slowed, so sometimes they get even more than that. But you can't do damage to them until they've taken 2 turns respectively apiece, I believe. So yeah, it's bad. When you see Iron Skin twice, it's an ugly fight. But now we move into the final dungeon of the game, with one of the neatest puzzles, the floor puzzle I really like. Again, we're super low HP. And once we get to the final save stone, we're going to go back to Suvia just to make sure. We're doing fine. Oops, I almost killed myself. We're doing fine as far as time is concerned for our estimate. So just to make sure that we can finish Valver Ichibo in the first try is priority here. No worries. So this is the floor puzzle. It's actually really neat. There's 2 ways to solve it. I mean, there might be even more, but as far as I'm aware, there's 2 ways to solve it. And you got to step on these little runes right here in order to have the ground work in a certain way. Cool, there you go. That's probably the best I've ever done it. I didn't make a single mistake. The second way to solve it, I think, requires 1 more tile. Maybe not, just a different arrangement of them. But the floor looks cooler because you're already on the floor when it lifts it up. It's a weird, thing that I like about it, but it's cool. Oh, there we go. So yeah, we'll warp to Suvia really fast. Sell a bunch of crap we don't need. Get the extra items. We'll go do the final boss. Right now we're on pace for like a 3:25, I imagine. Which gives us about 20 minutes estimate. Shouldn't take any longer than 5 minutes to do the Hollow Knight as well. So we're gonna sell. Do we have anything to sell? Oh no, this guy only sells these. Okay, that's cool. We'll just buy what we can buy then. Alrighty. Yeah, you can actually sell like certain synthesis materials and things like that to merchants that will take them. But that guy you can only sell to him actual like medicinal based stuff. Cool beans. Stasis chamber. I'm gonna do my menuing now so that if I do happen to die, I can just save. We need to get rid of the Aegis of Lys. We're gonna add and back again to him. We're going to add, where is it, Battle Medic. He is going to get double turn wherever it is. Oh, he's already got it. We'll do strong resolve. It helps, to be honest. And he will get immunity chance. Everybody's in the correct stance. It looks like it. Alright, so we're moving into the final area. If you're familiar with Final Fantasy X, like when you get inside Sin, and that's kind of what this area reminds me of. I don't know if I might be alone on that. But it's a really, really neat area. And ever since Snowcastle tipped me off on the, if you use Pat for movement, because there was a time where I didn't know that Pat moved faster, and it saved a little bit of time, but it also made this a little bit easier because he moves faster. He gets through these areas without being as heavily reduced in speed by these puddles on the ground. I used to have to take at least one fight in here because I wasn't fast enough to outrun the enemies that are hiding in the water. But now with Pat, we run fast enough we can dodge all that, thankfully. Yep. There we go. Sometimes if you thread the needle well enough on your movement there, you can actually not even get them to aggro you. But here we go. We're jumping into Valver Ichibo, the final boss in the game. So Valver Ichibo, he has two big things you need to watch out for. His two forms. One is when he has his self open, and one when he's in like a cocoon. Now you can lay curse and gouge on him when he's cocooned, but you'll kill yourself if you do anything else, which is very important, as I managed to do it literally always. Not a great turn order to start with, but the fact that he did attack Taika is really nice. However, I don't want to first aid Taika, because if he does get haste, he'll get a... Alright, nice. So we already forced him into cocoon, so now we're safe to cast first aid. We can still gouge. Any turn that we take with Taika from this point forward, we're going to need to pass until he has enough Amory to cast Curse, and that'll get him out of cocoon. Gotta watch out for his AoE here. Who's it on? Okay, that's not so bad. So we're gonna first aid drop, gouge, curse. There we go. That's gonna be big damage. Ooh, baby. First aid herself. Magic focus. Oh, baby! That's that big boy damage, Taika. Oh, we weren't quite there. Look how close he is. Actually, I think we can probably seal the deal right here. Let's see. Oh, no, we missed. That's hilarious. So he's going to get his max HP up. We'll kill him on the next turn, but... That's funny. Had Gouge not missed, we would have been fine. And so that is time right there, man. Sorry I didn't give you a fair warning, but that's time. That is, ladies and gentlemen, that is Earthlock. We do still have a little bit more to do. We have the Hollow Knight, which I'm going to load a save file for you guys and show you that optional boss. He's a super sick boss. But that's it, man. That's a pretty good... I'm super pleased with that marathon time. 3:24:52 I got on my end. I'm sure you are closer to 3:25. Maybe a little bit over it, but...
We're only actually 2 seconds over.
Oh, awesome. Awesome, man. Sorry I didn't give you a whole lot of warning.
Yeah. No worries, mate.
Alrighty, we'll let this last little scene pan out right here. And then, we'll quit. We'll skip to the title scene, and then we'll do the Hollow Knight, which should only take a couple minutes. I already have everything set up, so we just got to run in, start the fight, and that's that.
Is that the boss that was drawn by the 10-year-old?
No, that one was Trimblebone. That's the one we fought earlier on. He was like a skeleton carrying a big sword.
Yeah, I saw the concept art for that on the Twitter page.
Yeah, exactly. So we got the artifact back. All is right with the world. Once we arrive home, we see actually a pretty cool scene. We'll watch. Yeah, we'll just skip out of it now. So that is the game. You talk to him right there, and you get like a little celebration scene. But we stop time at the final hit on the final boss, since the rest of it you can't lose. But real quick, just so that we aren't losing the marathon any time, we can go and do this final boss. It'll only take a couple of minutes or whatever if you plan on, if the next runner is getting prepared. So for the Hollow Knight, what you have to do is you have to gather these 4 scepters. They're actually really easy to do. You know, they're scattered. The earth one you have to craft. The air one you get from a scrap pile. The fire one you dig up via a treasure map. And the other one you receive from defeating Naran, actually. So you get that one organically, just naturally. And then once you have all 4 of them, you come here to this area, you put them in each one of the pedestals, and it will summon this big bad dude right here, the Hollow Knight. Now, depending on how the turn order goes, you don't always win on the first try. Now, it's like a 75% chance success rate, and if we have to, we can do it a second time, but we should be fine the first way. There's a specific way of doing it. We pretty much just lean on Taika, as always. However, Eamon and everybody else pretty much is relegated to using items to keep him alive. So this is a good turn order right here, actually. Because we can Adrenaline Rush on Eamon. See if we can get haste on Taika. We didn't. Oh, wow. Amazing. It's super nice when he opens up with that. We can open first aid drop. Have him use this on Taika. And I didn't use curse there yet because I need curse to have more stacks on it with the magic buff. We'll use this one. And we actually want Eamon to live because we need the bond charge. So we'll curse now. We got more than enough. We're gonna eat huge damage. That's totally fine. Just gotta keep Taika alive, as always. And boom, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Hollow Knight right there. Whew. He's a tough guy, man. He's probably the only boss in this entire game that, like, I have no idea how it's ever gonna turn out. But from killing him, you do get some pretty sick talents. On the Brink, which you can see right here, increases your damage, your DPS a ton when you're low HP. But that is the last incentive for me, guys. This is Earthlock. Shoutouts to Snowcastle for creating such a great game. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Hopefully it was awesome and you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to tweet Snowcastle. Look at buying the game. It's for sale all the time on a bunch of different consoles. My name is Professor Palmer. You can find me on my Twitch at that. But otherwise, that's going to be it for me. Hopefully I can save the marathon, get them a little bit ahead. And thank you guys so much for having me, man. Whenever you're ready to take it away, you're more than welcome to.
Of course. So, good run, mate, and nice to see all the incentives being met as well. We will now move over to the intermission and soon be set up and be ready for Super Mario World, run by Dragolina.